Now we will call the meeting to order. May I have a roll call
President Balch.
here?
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Amy May.
Here.
Michael Moore.
Present.
Jeff Hinch, Michelle Cook, and Fred Brun are excused.
Okay, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. New business, 4A, certified survey map. Review a proposed certified survey map combining 3 parcels located on 7 Mile Road and Nicholson Road, submitted by Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, applicant and owner. Who wants to take it away?
I can do that.
All
Thank you
righty.
very much. Yeah, Trinity is looking at performing a building expansion for their school. In reviewing the property, it was noticed that one of the property lines actually ran through one of the buildings. At the same time, an abutting property owner gifted some land around the church and school, so that needed to be incorporated as well. Basically, this CSM is a cleanup of the existing properties, eliminating that property line running through the building, combining the gifted property to the existing church and school property, and then providing the dedicating the appropriate right-of-ways and drainage easements as necessary. Essentially, the CSM has been reviewed regarding land use, zoning, engineering, the utilities, stormwater management, and any environmental concerns. Essentially, the review generated 10 review conditions, and it is recommended that the CSM be approved subject to those 10 conditions.
Any discussion?
No, makes sense.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that the Plan Commission recommends to the Village Board to approve the certified survey map subject to the 10 conditions listed in Exhibit A of this staff report.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 4B, building, site, and operation plan review. Review a building, site, and operation plan for the expansion of the existing school located at 7900 Nicholson Road, submitted by Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, applicant and owner.
All right. Good evening, Mr. President. So following the land use amendment and rezoning that were approved by ordinances 2026-05 and 2026-06, now the applicant proposes, as we discussed earlier, the CSM to combine the 3 parcels part of this request. And now they're also presenting the building site and operation plan for a more or less 16,777 square foot addition on the southeast side of the existing school building. And they are also proposing some exterior site improvements, including an extension of the parking lot. And regarding the building exterior and design, the exterior of the building complies with the village design guidelines and meets the zoning requirements, mandating that 75% of the visible building perimeter be clad in acceptable exterior materials. So all of the elevations, they're composed by a variety of masonry products along the east, south, and west facades. There is a metal cornice that wraps around most of the east facade and the entire south facade. However, this metal cornice still doesn't amount to more than the 25% of the visible building perimeter. So another items that comply with the village design guidelines are the creation of a distinct base, middle, and top through some architectural details that frame the horizontality of the building. And the main entrance is also very well defined and highlighted by vertical elements and a mix of stone and brick veneer. Regarding the site design specifically, the building addition complies with I-1 institutional district setback and height requirements. The proposed use is also permitted within the I-1 district and is consistent with the village's comprehensive plan. Regarding the asphalt parking lot, that the applicant is proposing to expand. 183 parking spaces are provided, being 173 standard parking spaces and 10 ADA compliant spaces. All of those meet code. For quantity, dimensions, and setbacks, the drive aisles also comply with code for two-way traffic. And in accordance with the village's design guidelines, dumpster areas, mechanical equipment must be screened to minimize visual impact. And on that note, one exterior dumpster is being proposed southwest of the addition, which is enclosed by masonry walls with wood slat doors. The applicant also proposes shrubs surrounding the enclosure, which comply with the village's design guidelines. The ground mechanical equipment proposed along the west facade of the addition does not have any proposed fencing surrounding it, and staff is recommending then some screening of this ground mechanical equipment with a combination of trees and shrubs, because even though it's not facing the roadway, it is facing a neighboring property. In terms of the landscaping plan, the proposed landscaping will need some revisions, and per design guidelines, one tree is required for every 50 feet of street frontage. Since the site contains 937 feet approximately of street frontage along Nicholson Road, 19 trees are required, and the applicant only proposed 16 trees. And the spacing between those trees also needs to be revised to ensure adequate plant growth and a rhythmic planting along that roadway frontage. Per design guidelines, landscaped islands are also required for every grouping of 10 parking stalls, and those are provided. Regarding the lighting plan, a photometric plan was provided and complies with the village's requirement that no more than a half-foot candle of light crosses the lot line. However, there are two fixtures that are called floodlights in the plans, and they do not comply with village requirements. However, staff recommends approval of those fixtures since they will be facing the building facades and a lighting pole and a flagpole, which means they will be added for decorative purposes only, will not be facing the roadway, and will not be facing any neighboring property as well. So in terms of signs, there is one existing monument sign on the property. Right now, the sign is legal conforming. However, once the roadway dedication is completed, then the sign will be within the right-of-way, partly, meaning that it will become legal non-conforming if the project is approved. Then, due to its location, any future proposals to modify this sign, they will have to comply with the sign code and also require a relocation of that sign to a compliant location. So relocate it completely within property boundaries and within 5 feet from the lot line. So also the applicant will have to comply with all of the requirements and get approvals for stormwater management, erosion control, grading plans, and also a traffic impact analysis is also required per ordinance, and that must be reviewed by the engineering department, which is why due to all of the many requirements being met within this proposal, staff suggests approval, and that will be all. Thank you.
Are there any questions or discussion?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Well,
Oh, sorry, we need a motion first.
You want to make the motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
It's up here.
I recommend that we approve the plus 116,777 square foot building addition and exterior site improvements subject to the conditions outlined in Exhibit A for the properties located on Nicholson Road.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you. Nancy. 4C, Cooperative Boundary Agreement Review. Review a proposed building site and operation plan for a 5,700 square foot addition to the storage building located at 2720 West 7 Mile Road, Village of Raymond, submitted by Scott Niles, applicant, 7 Mile Fair Incorporated, owner.
Really?
So just for some background regarding this project is part of a larger indoor-outdoor market development that dates back to the 1980s. That's called 7 Mile Fair. And the applicant is proposing to construct a 5,700 square foot addition to an existing cold storage building on a parcel that's next to the bulk of the operations of 7 Mile Fair. And the address is 2720 West 7 Mile Road. So just for some basics about the proposal, the building addition is proposed to be constructed within an existing impervious surface. So no additional impervious surface would be added to the site. In addition, no electrical service or exterior lighting is proposed. And the building addition will be consisted of metal wall panels and a metal roof. One overhead door is proposed on the south elevation facing 7 Mile Road. However, it will not be visible from the road because of a massive trees on the south side of the property near the roadway. So regarding the design standards within Exhibit K, number 1 discusses loading docks and mechanicals and shipping areas requiring screening or high visual appeal of overhead doors. So as explained before, 1 overhead door is proposed along 7 Mile Road, which will not be seen from the roadway because of the existing trees, so this standard is met. However, several other standards are not met for this proposal, including number 2, which is street edge landscaping, and the site plan, the proposal does not include a landscaping plan with street edge landscaping. In terms of four-sided architecture, roof style materials, and building materials, those items are up to Plan Commission discretion. However, the applicant does not comply with those requirements as well, since the building will be clad in metal panels with minimal variation, and also the materials are not finished grade and a metal roof is proposed. No signage or rooftop mechanicals are proposed, so none are showed. And in terms of lighting specification, no lighting plan was submitted and no lighting will be added to the building. In terms of the building placement, this standard is met because the building will be parallel to the roadway in line with the existing building. And in terms of building massing height and form, this standard is also not being met. So in totality, in Exhibit K, items number 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9 are not being met. And in addition, the site plan and project narrative do not fully satisfy the village's application requirements because the site plan is not clearly identifying the addition, the property boundaries, and other required site features. And the narrative also does not adequately demonstrate how the development complies with the design guidelines in Exhibit K, which is why staff is recommending denial of the proposal as presented. And the Plan Commission may, at its discretion, determine if the design is acceptable and if it achieves the intent of the boundary agreement. So in terms of the suggested motion in the first page of the report, if choosing to recommend denial, the Plan Commission may add more reasons for a denial here in this motion, but if determining that the design is acceptable, then findings of fact and reasons for a recommendation for approval must be provided. Thank you.
Questions?
I guess the only one that really jumps out at me is number 5, which is the rooftop mechanicals. This requires screening with similar materials. And this kind of bounces into some issues we keep beginning to run into is sound coming off of these rooftop mechanicals and some buffering around that. I'm not particularly upset about 3, 6, 9, or 2, because this really is more over on the Raymond side of the road than directly on our side, but that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know what the protocol, our standard protocol has been for planning commission recommendations related to this border agreement.
I don't think we've ever denied one in the 5.5 years I've been on the planning commission, have we, Pete?
Is there a history or a standard approach that we've been taking? Second question, I presume this has passed muster with
Raymond?
Village of Raymond?
It did in June.
Yes, it has passed Raymond's approval process, that is true.
Okay.
In response to how many recommendations for denial for the cooperative boundary agreement has been 0 since I've been here for 7 years. However, one of the defining criteria for this boundary agreement is that development should be spectacular and
Yeah.
therefore not be required to connect to sewer and water. And so based on what Natalia said was, they're not meeting the Exhibit K requirements that have been always applied to all the developments. Now, there's discretion by the Plan Commission if they are, meet the spirit of Exhibit K, especially like design standards. There's always some room for flexibility. If it's an addition and it's meeting the exact same materials, there can be a waiver of 3/4 of this commission to make a recommendation for approval, so it could be allowed. But there are concerns about the level of site plan review. If you look up on the screen, there's a site plan. It does not even show the road that now goes in between 7 Mile Fair and where the existing building was. They were originally one parcel, and now it's 2 parcels. And so one of the statements that staff made in its report was that this is an inadequate site plan. If this was on the Caledonia side, we would have rejected this and not even have presented it to the Plan Commission, saying that is not ready to go. The applicant expressed their belief that this doesn't necessarily apply. I believe the applicant is here in the audience. If you have questions regarding his point of view as it relates to this project, that's up to the
Yeah,
Plan Commission.
I'm
to
trying to
express.
get to. I'm trying to get to what we're asking. Oh, did you mute me? Okay, I'm trying to get to what question we're asking the Plan Commission. Are we asking them to be sticklers for the boundary agreement and to make a recommendation based on formal alignment with that and pass it on to the board? Where the board could say, yeah, fine, I don't care that you didn't like it, we're gonna do it anyway because it's their side of the boundary. Is that what we're asking, or are we asking the Plan Commission to essentially make a judgment about whether to apply the letter of the border agreement?
Sure. If I'm understanding your question correctly, the purpose of the Plan Commission is to apply the policies that have been in place, that's been adopted by the board. And so staff has gone through the agreement, compared it to what was submitted, and staff believes that what has been presented is insufficient and does not meet the intention of Exhibit K. And therefore, we're suggesting to you that is true. If the Plan Commission says, staff don't really necessarily agree with your interpretation that this is acceptable, then you can make a recommendation to approve the said site plan, and then it'll go to village board. It can go also to the village board with no recommendation or a recommendation to deny. The village board has the ultimate decision to decide if this proposal meets the merits of the cooperative boundary agreement. The Plan Commission is vetting out exactly what it is that has been adopted as policy and say, yes, this application meets the definition of the boundary or the parameters of the boundary agreement, and therefore we make a recommendation to approve for the following reasons. 1, you will have to state that it is a spectacular development, and 2, that it meets the criteria of Exhibit K as presented. And that's up to that is the Plan Commission's review. They're out, the plan commission's purpose is to vet out, to make sure that all the policies, the zoning code, all the other ordinances that are in place that apply to a development are is in compliance. If it
Sure.
is in compliance, then the plan commission makes a recommendation. There are times where there is some discretion in the interpretation of, like in this case, the boundary agreement. We have that 3/4 waiver to the materials. So that would be criteria
Number
number
9.
3, 4, and 9. And so we have four-sided architecture. Again, that is something that is the discretion of the plan commission. If this is, should not be applied to this particular development, then the plan commission can make a recommendation to approve. So
Yeah.
without repeating myself, we're applying the boundary agreement as adopted by the village board in the village of Raymond and advising you that if it's in compliance or not.
Understood. Does the plan commission have to formally request that it go to the board, or does it automatically go to the board?
So if a recommendation to approve, then we schedule it to go to village board. If the plan commission recommends denial, the applicant has the right to go forward still with a no recommendation. Either way, oftentimes when a no recommendation is made, typically there's two things that happen. Usually the applicant says, instead of saying no, could you give me enough time to address the concerns that staff has or the plan commission has? Or I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to, go before the village board and ask for their discretion. And they may or may not agree with the plan commission. The plan commission is just a recommending body.
It ends up at the board either way.
Yeah, so we have the three options. I guess I would like to suggest, and somebody's welcome to make this motion, that the planning commission have no decision and refer it to the board for final decision. It seems to me the decision is how we want to enforce or use the border agreement. How tightly do we want to stick to it? That's not, I don't think the plan commission saying yes or no is going to have any impact on that decision at all. And I think this just needs to jump straight to the board for approval or denial.
We want to
I disagree with that,
Okay?
only because in the past, we've always stuck to the border agreement in every single thing. I mean, this has to be, whoever is designing this or, has to conform or, I mean, we've wavered, I think, on trees possibly, the size of a holding pond, but I don't think we've ever, the looks of the building and stuff like that have stuck pretty doggone close to standards. Signs we've wavered on, but, nothing on the way this building is going to look. It's going to look like another tin shed out there.
Well, we've never had one that we've questioned before at this level.
True.
And what, you've got 7 years, I think I'm 6, so this is a new thing. Is there anything, I was going to say, is there anything you as the applicant come up
Come on
and
up.
say and talk to us, help us out?
So, a few things. So the existing building that's there is part of 7 Mile Fair.
Can you move the microphone?
As was referenced before. All the 7 Mile Fair buildings have the same, they're steel buildings, they're all the same color, they all look the same. So this existing building that's here is simply being added onto. So it's a rectangle. It's just going to be extended. So it wouldn't make sense to use other materials or to go with a different type of siding or roof. For the functionality of the building and just for water flowage on the roof and whatnot, it just would make sense to extend the building. As far as the site plan, so the site plan actually had a few different pages with it. One of which does show the dimensions of the building, setbacks. And we took the existing survey work that we had because until we get the approval, we, I guess, didn't want to hire
a surveyor to, to put together a formal site plan. That will be something that's done in order to complete the construction. So it shows the existing building.
And we can share. Yeah, thank you. Here's.
And then regarding item number 2 on the Caledonia standards, the street edge landscaping. So the way that the site is currently constructed, this was all one big parcel, and then when the DOT put in the new freeway system and off ramps and frontage roads, there's a road that came through the property. So right now, most of this property is parking lot that runs along the frontage road, and then there's a fence right in front of the frontage road, pretty much right on the right of way line. There's really not any room to put any additional trees there. The portion of the property that does not have parking lot does actually have woods, and then going all the way up 7 Mile Road is wooded as well, but the street edge landscaping wouldn't be possible unless some of what was already existing is removed.
So if you're going west on 7 Mile, so the fair's on this side, you're over here on the left side.
Yep.
It's that parcel, I call it offside parking when I go. by.
Yeah, it'd be the northwest corner of 7 Mile Road. And then the other item that was referenced with the guidelines was the four-sided architecture. So the existing building that's there right now is a steel building, tan with dark brown trim and a steel roof. The addition to the existing building will keep the same materials and colors. The shape of the existing building is a rectangle, and after the addition is added to the existing building, the shape will still be a rectangle, keeping the four-sided architecture standard intact, as some would interpret. But when you look at the building right now from the road, it won't look any different because the building's just being extended back to the west. And it's just, I guess, with it already being what it is there and just simply extending the back of it. And so you would reference too with the mechanicals on the roof. So there will be no mechanicals on the rooftop.
Oh, okay.
It'll be just cold storage, so
Got it.
there won't be anything on the roof there.
I'm going to repeat or maybe slightly alter, but largely the same recommendation. I think this is a board vote as to how vigorously to apply the spectacular standard. This is an add-on building to an existing building. They're not building an oil refinery. They're not building something brand new. It's just an addition to something that's already there. And it's out of sight of Caledonia. So I just think we can say whatever we want. Ultimately, it's got to go to the board for a decision on whether to apply that standard to this addition. So I still recommend that this commission take no action and we pass it to the board for approval where the approval has to come anyway.
I can make a motion that the planning commission recommend forwarding this design to the board for review.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
That means it'll go directly
Okay,
to the board with some of the similar discussion.
got it.
Thank you.
Are we adjourned? Yeah, I think we
I
are.
believe we're adjourned. That was it.
30 minutes.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.